would you say if you were in a competition? You really want to win this competition. And then you wake up the next day and you find out you lose. And you're like, oh, that stinks. And you're mad. You yell at people, hey, get out of my way, I'm mad. No, you actually won. For realsies?
I think you need a new 8-ball.
Yes, I think I need a new 8-ball. Hey! You still need that other round? Come on over here. I got a story to tell you. Let's toast some history.
Now that's good history.
Hey everybody, welcome back to A Toast to History. Today my honor is Harry S Truman, where I'm about to tell you how a farmer came to be president and had to fill in at a pivotal time for one of our biggest American icons in American history. So, welcome to the Truman Show, everybody. But this one's for real. Harry S Truman was the 33rd president of the United States. He was vice president of FDR. He was a U.S. Senator from Missouri. He was the presiding judge over Jackson County. His military service, he was in the National Guard as well as the Army Reserve. His highest rank as he became colonel during his service during the Army Reserve. Harry Truman's early life is like any other 50s sitcom you ever watched. You have the feel-good story. You have the, oh my gosh, they're going through this hard time. And you have them overcoming that hard to ascend to a position that everybody succeeds. Truman was raised on a farm in Missouri. He's a farmer. He marries his childhood friend Elizabeth, which he called Bess. He serves in World War I. Going over adversity, he can't pass the eye exam. Look at the glasses. He couldn't pass it. So therefore, he was smart enough. He memorized the board so that he could tell them what letters they were pointing at. He serves in World War I, gets to this rank of colonel in the Army Reserve. After the war, he marries Bess. He drops out of law school to start his own business. That almost went bankrupt. Now what's he going to do? He has a wife and a child. What's he going to do? He decides to go into politics. He starts to work up the ranks, and he gets on this Truman Committee that they called it, where they got together and they went over government wastefulness. The government waste things? No, I never, ever think that. Where the hell is your committee today, Truman? He goes from that, and he gets a job by the American people to the U.S. Senate. From here, FDR picks him as his third vice president in his 12 years in office. He picks him. You're the vice president of the United States. Hey, from farmer to failed shop clerk to committee to senator. All right, now I'm at my new job, vice president. Wait a minute. 82 days later, FDR dies. Mr. Truman, you're president of the United States. He gets a call at the White House. It's urgent. We need you here as soon as possible. So he rushes over there. He's 82 days on the job. He wants to be the vice president. Okay, what do you need me to do? What's going on? He arrives at the White House and he's immediately greeted by Mrs. Roosevelt, Eleanor. Harry, the president is dead. Harry Truman is brought back by this. Is there anything we can do for you? No, Harry. Is there anything we can do for you? You're in trouble now. He had on his desk, the buck stops here. Means this is where the decision is going to be made. When with hindsight being 2020, wait a minute, you didn't even have that. He has no time to even mourn FDR dying. FDR is not even in the ground yet, and he hears about the Manhattan Project, which you all know is the atomic bomb. Wow, what a thing to hit you. You're at war. This is not peacetime. No president, in my opinion, has ever had the ascension, the vice to the presidency. We've had several of those. None of them had such a critical time where you're it, buddy, and you have a lot of decisions to make. 4 months in, people come to him and say, we can invade Japan, but we will have a minimum of 500,000 casualties, possibly 1 million. Or we can drop the bomb. Do you know anybody in his cabinet? Do you know who his Secretary of War was? Do you know his advisors? I don't. And I have a history degree. I don't know these people. I'd have to look them up. Are we going to remember those people? No. This guy had the decision. It didn't matter what they said. It remember what he said, and he's the one who's going to be remembered for it for all time to this day, even though the man's been dead for decades. And Truman did as Truman did. He was a very straightforward thinker. He made a decision. As you all know, he dropped the bombs. But he gave warning. Japan did not surrender. He dropped a bomb. That man had this on his soul the rest of his life. But you know what? He won the war. Sometimes, in order to win, you had to make those hard choices. And it was his to make, and he made it, and he won it. If anybody needed a drink in that moment, it'd be this man. Most people would say the 2 bombs he dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki defined his presidency. I disagree, and if you want to change my mind, comment in the comment boxes. This man did other things. Was it his greatest decision he had to make? Yes, I'll give you that. But he helped rebuild Europe. The war's over now. What are we going to do? He doesn't pack up his bags and go home. He says, we got to rebuild Europe. We got to help out Japan. We are now on the world stage, and we got to act like it. He decides to be an executive as part of the UN. We need to make sure this never happens again. And guess what? It hasn't. Is the world all peaceful and rainbows? No. But it's better than what we had. He uses an executive order to start the civil rights movement. Yes, other presidents have done it, but this man lights the torch. He's the first president to recognize Israel. You know, one of our biggest allies in the world today? Dewey beats Truman. We all know it. A lot of people did not think Truman would win a second term. He just dropped the bomb. Controversial. Civil rights, still to this day, is controversial. The UN, getting involved with other nations, controversial. People wrote him off. They're like, no, there's no way he's going to win another term. Dewey, his candidate, had 17 speeches and thought he was a shoo-in. This man did a cross-country campaign, did 171 speeches, telling people why I deserve a second term. This is what I did for this country. This man went all blue collar on us and showed, you know what? I'm willing to put on the work. Election day comes. Dewey and Truman go to bed, not knowing who the winner is. We're still counting. We know how that is, America. So, wake up the next day. He sees a picture of the Chicago Tribune. Dewey beats Truman. Only to find out that they had written him off too. He wins with 49% of the vote, wins the Electoral College, President Truman, you get a round two, baby. You get a round two. During his second term, we're already trying to rebuild Europe. Now he puts forth his Truman Doctrine. Communism is a problem. Hence, the Cold War starts here. And I've defended Europe. I've already fought a war. I'm trying to rebuild Europe. I don't want to get into another fight, but I do not want communism to spread and ruin the work I've done. So I'm going to contain it. So therefore, I am going to defend people who do not want to be communists. They are allies, and the United States will come to defend you. That's what happens in the Cold War. That's eventually what happened in Korea. And even though he wasn't president, it will lead to Vietnam. This Truman Doctrine of containment. You know what? You can't have a good president without controversy. That's why you're in my top 10, man. You tried to find controversy sometimes. Woo! Good job, man. We just went over how controversial President Truman was during his second term. Other people thought it too. The White House is under renovation, so they moved the Trumans to the Blair House, which is around the corner from the White House. And this was a perfect opportunity for two Puerto Rican nationals. On November 1st, 1950, they feel we can take the president out. He's vulnerable at this place. So, there was security there, and there was a gunfight. One national died, one cop died, and the other was captured. He was sentenced to death. Truman reduced his sentence to life imprisonment. Jimmy Carter in 1979 pardoned the man. Lets him go. I was watching a documentary of Jimmy Carter, and he said that his most influential president that he looked up to was Harry S Truman. And then he lets go the guy that tried to kill him. He was a peanut farmer because he's friggin' nuts, man. Other things about Harry Truman that you did not read in your history books. His name's Harry S Truman. What's the S stand for? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. It's just S. His two parents had grandparents that both had S's for their name. And they could not decide which one to do it. They couldn't agree. So they're like, the hell with it. They just put an S there. So the S just stands for S. His wife, Bess, hated being the first lady. Hated Washington, D.C. She stayed as much away from the capital as possible. Independence, Missouri. Washington, D.C. That's a huge leap in social life, everybody. That's a huge leap in towns. And she didn't like it. She stayed away as much as she could. She came when, okay, you need me out there, Harry. You got it, honey. I will be out there. But then I'm coming back. After his presidency, they decided to go on an incognito road trip. They didn't think people would recognize them. They go on this cross-country road trip. And people are like, you're the guy. You were president of the United States. You're the A-bomb guy, aren't you? Yes, you are the A-bomb guy. I saw you in the newspaper. I saw you in the Dewey newspaper. You're Truman. This kept happening to him. He got put over by a cop and he looked who he was. I'm like, oh, sorry, Mr. President, and lets him go. Wow, Grant couldn't even get away with that. He got a ticket on horseback. If you didn't see my Grant video, you should check it out after this video. It's a very good one and it's very funny. In 2017, his grandson played him in a play called Give 'Em Hell, Harry. And if you look at the pictures of him, he looks just like him. It is crazy, man. It's like you're looking at a picture of Truman. Look it up, get a picture of Truman, and look at him, man. It's scary looking. But he also is the advisor in charge, one of the people in charge of his presidential library. And he used his grandfather's actual tapes to actually study his tones and his pauses and how to talk like him. Man, put the work in. I want to see this play. Now I'm about to go over what I never, ever thought I would ever have to go over in my history toast. So for all you conspiracy nuts or alien enthusiasts, you guys better get in closer because you're not going to hear this probably again from me. FDR had to deal with the Battle of L.A. Something was flying over the city of L.A. Something. And the army, like hell, shot the heck out of it, trying to bring it down. Still to this day, what was it? They don't know. Do they? We don't know. Do we? Will we ever? The Foo Fighters, 1944. Is it really something there? Or is it just a bad picture? Is it the Bigfoot picture? Is Bigfoot flying around out there? I don't know. Now, why have you gone over this? Why are we talking about this? Well, I'm getting now to the point. In 1947, in July, something crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. Was it a spaceship? Was it a fancy Corvette? Was it the Japanese trying to come in one more round? They missed Pearl Harbor. They took a wrong turn. But in 1947, this man was president. And Dwight D. Eisenhower, a future president of the United States, was chief of staff. Very convenient. Allegedly, this man signs an executive order called Majestic 12 or MJ-12 to study aliens. Well, what's out there? Will we ever know? Wait a minute. Did it? This just in. In 2021, this year, the Pentagon is going to declassify documents about the study of aliens and what they know. Supposedly. Because I know the government's never lied to us before. You all got your alien plug. Comment below. But I'm still not going to do it again. So, where were you in July 1947? Oh, you're not going to talk, huh? We have ways of making you talk. Want a beer? This is why Harry S Truman was on my love list in my top 10 presidents of all time. If you didn't see my love list, I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite episodes I ever did. It was tough, but I enjoyed it. Go check it out. To Harry S Truman, President of the United States. To the blue-collar man who went from being a farmer to the most important man in this country during one of the hardest times in this country. Man showed up to work every day, but he shows up to work one day and you're the boss. A failed clothing clerk is the boss in the head of this country. And then he has a decision to make that he has to live with. That's going to take thousands of lives. Some people question his decision even to this day. Some question his decisions on a lot of his policies. You can question it. We can debate about it all day, but it was not yours to make. It was his. And he had to live with it. And he is known for it today. Not any of his advisors, him. Happy birthday, Harry S. Truman. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Now that's good history. Another episode of the Jared Challenge. Last 3 episodes, no one has got the Jared Challenge. Only 2 people have beat the Jared Challenge. Damn, I'm good. If not, if you can beat my challenge, which I will take on all comers, not only will I toast my honoree, I will toast you. My next honoree. Everybody knows that our former president, Donald Trump, is the richest president that we've ever had. But until him, this man was our richest president. If you know who he is, put it down there in the comment box. But you know what? Hey, until I see you next time, good morning, good evening, and good night.